Hi there, everyone. Welcome to week one of the 4-week coaching program where we're going to be opening up our businesses, showing you exactly what we do, and teach you how to set up a real online business that, imagine that, makes money, which is what we all are doing this for. We're not doing this for fun, even though it can be fun at times, but we are doing this as a way of making money online. People that are going to be on this call today, of course, it's myself, Mike Thomas. You know me from Profit Canvas. You also know me from my website, mikefrommaine.com, where I do affiliate marketing mostly and a little bit of product creation. Also, we have on the call today, we have Brett Rutecky, of course. Brett is the developer behind Profit Canvas, and he also has a website where he does affiliate marketing called brettrutecky.com. Now, we're going to try and take apart everything that we do in our businesses and really try to instill in you how simple this all is. There's nothing for sale. These 4 weeks here, we're not going to be trying to sell you anything. It's all pure content for you. I will say at the same time, though, that it's going to be largely based upon the questions that you ask as well. We do have a syllabus planned out for the 4 weeks, but that doesn't mean that the questions that you ask won't have an effect on what we teach. So if something comes up and we find out that we need to teach something that you all don't understand, and we have a consensus on that, then we can definitely change things to fix that. I have someone saying there's no sound. Let me just send him a chat answer, because obviously if there's no sound, you can't hear me. Turn up your volume. It's probably what I would tell him. Here we go. So yeah, we're gonna be going over everything that we do in our businesses, and I want you to really pay attention here and also take notes. You're gonna have the recording every week, so even if you can't make a session, but I would strongly recommend that you attend, as the whole reason why you signed up for this is so that you could be able to ask us questions as well. But I want you to realize and pay attention to the fact that what we do is very, very simple, and you're going to see over the next 4 weeks just how simple that is. We're going to be sharing stuff with you that we don't share with anyone else, stuff that is the real stuff behind our businesses. We're not doing crazy link building tactics. We're not going out there and using tons of software to do what we're doing. We really run our businesses on a budget. Brett and I are very cheap when it comes to spending money on stuff. So we don't go out there and buy tons of ads on stuff. Just we're very frugal with what we do in our businesses. And I want you to notice that you don't need a huge investment for that. Kim's asking, where will the recordings be located? That's a good question, Kim. I believe we'll be sending them to your email. So whatever email that you subscribe to for this, you should get them in your email. If you don't end up getting them, Brett and I don't know if Brett, you have something off the top of your head, we could email them out a page or something with it on it. Any ideas there?
Anybody that doesn't get the recording, we'll make a page up for them, and they can just use the support link inside of Profit Canvas and send me a request.
But wait a little bit for that, because it might come a little bit later. But if you don't get it in a day or two, go ahead and put that support ticket in. But I don't want Brett to get inundated with support tickets for that. But without further ado, well, you're going to say something, Brett?
No.
No. Okay. Cool. Without further ado, let's get started here. And again, I'm going to be paying attention to the chat box throughout the call. So if you have any questions that come up over the next 45 minutes to an hour that we're going to be doing this, go ahead and ask them in there, and I will be happy to address them. I'm actually, my job before doing internet marketing, I was an English teacher. I actually taught English as a second language, so I'm used to being in a classroom setting, used to answering questions, and I want you to know that there is never a stupid question. So don't feel like, just if you have a question, if you're asking it, probably someone else out there is going to have the same question as well. So let's get right into it. Today, what we're going to be going over in this first week is how to set up your home base. Now, your home base is going to be your place online where you live. Now, with Profit Canvas, we're allowed to create amazing sales pages and squeeze pages and webinar pages and all that fun stuff, videos, all that stuff that will help you with your marketing. But when it comes down to it, you're going to need to have a place on the internet where you live, like a blog. And if you look at what Brett and I both do over here, Brett and I have very, very basic WordPress blogs. Now, if you look at this right here, I mean, this isn't something that took Brett hours and hours to do. Brett, when you set this up, tell me a little bit about your setup for this. Did you go out and pay a designer a ton of money for this, and or how did you get this done? How much did this all cost you?
Well, I just use WordPress, which WordPress is completely free. I wanted to have a premium template. There are hundreds and hundreds and thousands of free templates out there, but I did want to have a premium template, so I bought a premium template from Code Canyon. I think that branch is called ThemeFrost, actually, though. I think it was $47 for my premium template, and I installed it, and that's it. That's all I did. I did get a logo made. I got that little bulldog logo made, and Josh Catherman actually made that for me. And I don't believe he charged me for that, but if he did, he spent if he would have, it would have been about an hour to make that. So, 15 or 20 bucks to make it. So I didn't put any money really into the blog as far as design or style or custom coding.
Yeah, and if you also look over here at mikefrommaine.com, also a very, very similar situation. The theme on this is I think it's a $47 theme. It's a very cheap theme. Also, it's a WordPress blog or website. Blog website. People use those words interchangeably. Vera's also saying I love this teaching already. I'm glad you like it, Vera. Thank you for also saying that already. Steven's asking wp.org or wp.com. So WordPress.org or WordPress.com. We use self-hosted WordPress websites, and we're going to talk about that a little more during the call today on what you're going to need to go out there and be able to do that. There's a free way of hosting a WordPress website, which I think is WordPress. Is that org or com? I don't know. It's the free one. We don't use the free one just because we want full control over our website. So I own all of this. I own my website. I own the domain name mikefrommaine.com. Same with Brett. He owns his website. He owns all the content. No one can ever come in and take this away from him. Now, if he had this set up on a Facebook page, and maybe some of you have Facebook pages, well, you could go out there and create a Facebook page, get a ton of followers on it, get a ton of likes and whatever, and then one of these days, Google or Facebook, everyone always says Google because Google does the same thing to people sometimes. Facebook will come along and they'll not like something that you're doing, and you can just wake up one morning and your Facebook page is banned, and no one wants to go out there and to create something and have it taken out from under you. Roy is asking, uh, Brett. I think Roy's asking if Joshua, if people can get access to Joshua for design work. Is that something that you can give out?
No, really, I can't like give out his information without asking his permission to do that. Um, I could certainly let him know that some people are interested in design work from him. But even if you don't use Josh, I mean, there's plenty of designers out there, and I'm not saying that Josh isn't a great designer. I'm just saying that there are plenty of guys out there, Elance, Fiverr, Odesk. There's guys out there that will make you a logo. There's guys out there that will make you 10 copies of a logo and tell you to pick the one you want for
Yeah.
20 bucks. So.
So maybe, yeah, maybe what we'll do, we'll talk to Josh, and maybe we'll if he says that he's interested in doing some work, maybe we can put something in the Facebook group and hook people up with that. But there's tons of designers out there, everyone. Don't get stuck on one thing that we're going to talk about today is not getting stuck on that kind of stuff. I'm being told here WordPress.org is the free one. Beverly says WordPress.org is self-hosted. But anyways, WordPress, the one that you put on a domain name and that you buy a domain name for, and we're going to talk about that today. Stefan, I think you're asking about my theme. Mine is called Focus Blog. It's by Thrive Themes. Focus Blog, Thrive Themes. It's a pretty nice theme. Ad is asking, what is your thoughts on getting a duplicated IP address so you can use security certificates HTTPS? Ad, I am not a developer or tech guy. Brett, do you want to answer that question?
There is almost no reason whatsoever why a blog like this needs to be on a secure, needs an SSL, needs to be on a secure site. There's really almost no reason whatsoever for that.
Yeah.
SSL is for secure encryption. I mean, this is for things, that's for things like I've got a shopping cart or I'm going to sell things from inside of my system. I got a checkout page. You don't need that for a blog like this. And actually, Mike, and if we don't, maybe we can just jump ahead, just for a second and talk about, because I'm noticing some of the questions that are coming in. Maybe we could just talk about the focusing on the little things a bit.
Yeah, and one thing that Brett and I were discussing when we were planning out the syllabus for this course is that a lot of the questions that we get, and not just from you all the time, are from people that are focusing on little things that don't really matter. For example, trying to go out there and find the perfect logo for your website, or trying to find the perfect theme, or trying to find the perfect plugins or anything. There's really nothing perfect. You're never going to find the perfect thing for anything. It's just such not important stuff. What you should be focusing on is the value and the content that you put out. So, and we're going to be discussing that later on in throughout the 4 weeks. But just those little things, don't get caught up on them. Don't get caught up on names. Don't get caught up on that kind of stuff. And that's why we're here today. We're here to help you to get over that kind of stuff. Stephen's
You
saying,
know,
oh, go ahead.
I noticed that a lot of people will ask something like, what hosting are you using, Brett? Um, But that's really doesn't matter. That's not that important. What hosting I'm using isn't that important. It's like my blog isn't successful and people don't like my blog because of my hosting company, because my visitors don't even know who my hosting company is.
Mhm.
My blog is successful because of the content and the value that I put in, or what theme do I have. Nobody ever comes to my site and says, Brett, man, that was an awesome article, but only if only your theme was different. It's not, that stuff is not important. And I really think that people get so overwhelmed on what theme does Brett use, what theme does Mike use, what hosting do you use, what plugin do you use, that they feel overwhelmed with all these tiny little things that really aren't going to be that important anyway.
I'll say one thing about that though, and in the future, sure, if you want to pay someone, if you do this and you start making some money and you want to go out there and you want to pay a professional to create a really sweet logo for you, or custom make a theme for you, that's fine. But in the beginning, when we're not making any money yet, that should be the furthest thing from our minds. We should just be focusing on getting that first money coming in before we do anything. Um, let's see here. We've got some more, ton of questions here. I'm going to try to get to everyone here. Bill, you're asking for a link. I'm not sure what link to. Vera loves the free ribbon template. Okay. Beverly says, what to use for a website backup, best of must-have plugins. Beverly, okay, let me just show you really quick. As far as backing up your website, in plugins, again, I mean, I understand. I
If you're on a
understand.
shared host,
What's that?
I can answer this one easy, Mike.
Hmm.
If you're on a shared hosting, Beverly, your hosting company is going to back your site up every day. Every major hosting company does that. A lot of people, they sell these backup plugins, and honestly, it's to make you scared and get you to buy their plugin. But the majority of people don't need them because their hosting company already backs up their sites for them. Every major company does that. The only companies that don't do that are when you have a dedicated server and none of you guys should have a dedicated server because I mean that's for major sites, that get a million hits a day.
I'm a scaredy cat. I'm one of those people that get scared that something's going to happen. And the reason why is because Brett's right. Your sites do get backed up by your hosting. However, yeah, by your hosting. But sometimes, and I've had a situation before, it happens rarely, but I had a situation where my site got hacked and then my hosting company were jerks about it and they didn't actually help me with it. So once I have, I mean, a big site and it's a big part of my business, and if I lose it, I'm screwed. So I pay $5 a month to a WordPress. It's a WordPress company called Vault Press. I pay $5 a month and it backs up my stuff. This is something that I didn't do until I think 2 months ago, 1 or 2 months ago, and I've been doing this since 2011. So just to kind of give you an idea of how long it took me to do this kind of a thing, it's not one of those things that when I was starting out and trying to make my first money and trying to cut costs and and figure things out, it wasn't one of my big priorities. But just so you know, and to answer your question, I know you wanted to see some plugins. I'll show you what I've got going on here. I've got a Kismet, which is it stops spam coming in. I don't even know if I have that activated. I just have it on there. All-in-one schema.org rich snippets that when I do a review, it lets me put in some special text for showing that it's trying to tell Google that it's actually a review. Broken link checker tells me when I have broken links. Comment reply notification that tells me that sends a notification if someone makes a comment, and then it will send a notification back to them if I reply. Dagon design sitemap generator. I don't even know what that does. I think it creates some kind of an excuse me HTML sitemap, and a bunch of others here. I'm not going to go through them all, but just stuff that I've added over time onto my site to have it working. Something that I would recommend that you have when you first start out. I would recommend getting some sort of a stats plugin. Do you use anything specific for that, Brett? Do you use analytics or anything? What do you use for your stats?
Yeah, I have analytic code, Google Analytic code. I put it in my theme. So
Yeah, so you can just put a Google Analytics code in there. Pretty Link is a good one. That lets you have all your links inside your site. So if I go over here to Pretty Link, I can put all my affiliate links in here and be able to track them. So I can see that I had 670 people click on this one, 316, 1,000 for Profit Canvas, all that stuff. I can see exactly how many people clicked on my links. So that's a pretty cool way of doing that as well. But anyways, again, don't get caught up on this. I go in here, and if you check back with me in a month, these will be different. I change these out. I get rid of them. I don't want a lot of plugins on my site because when you have a ton of plugins on there, what ends up happening is it slows down your website. So let me go back out here, just kind of give you a glimpse inside of there. Um, it says waiting for name. What kind of questions can we ask today? You can ask any kind of questions you want. Um, Stephen says, if you'll never begin if you don't begin, don't sweat the small stuff. Exactly. Vera says, I always use HostGator. We'll talk about that today. Let's see. Dun, dun, dun. Okay, got your questions. Let's see. Cool. Okay, let's move on. We're gonna move on to the next part of today's training. Let me go over here. So the first thing we're going to talk about is picking a domain name. So when we talk about picking a domain name, this is another thing that people get stuck on. They go out there and they are trying to find a name. They think they need the perfect name, and they'll just like sit on it and not get started. Brett, tell me about how you picked your name, BrettRutecky.com.
my mother gave it to me.
Funny, wise ass, wise ass.
No, seriously. I wanted to brand myself. I wanted to make myself an authority in this business. So I didn't want to, make some company. I wanted myself to be an authority. I mean, if you say EBR, you get a picture of Brian Rose, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
So you say Frank Kern, you know right who he is. So my goal was to build myself up and build my reputation. So BrettRutecky.com was just a natural choice because it's who I am and it's who I want to promote.
And for my website, MikeFromMaine.com, it was actually, it was never meant to be an internet marketing website. MikeFromMaine.com was initially a travel blog, so that when I was going overseas backpacking, my mom could follow me around. It was back in 2006 or 7, I think, that I started, maybe 2007. And so that my mom could follow around, I could just write and put up pictures, and so she would know that I was okay. Mike from Maine is not like, if I had to go back now and create a website, I don't know what do I want to have. Could I do Mike's reviews? Maybe Mike's marketing reviews. Maybe, I guess. But I'm always a big fan, and Brett, you can chime in as well. I'm a big fan of doing kind of like what Brett did. You're putting your name there, putting something that's going to identify you, and that people are going to remember. Um, you don't want, now, this would be horrible if my website was Mike, if it was Mike, hyphen from hyphen Maine.com. Now that would stink, because if you have to always be thinking to yourself, what am I going to, like, if I have to say what the domain is, if someone's asking me, oh, what's your website? You want to make it something that's easy for people to remember. Mike from Maine.com is horrible, but Mike from Maine.com, it's pretty easy to remember. And Brett Rutecky is pretty
Yeah, you
easy
want it to
too.
be short. You want it to be short, you want it to go to the point, and you want it to have your website to have a goal. Like you need to be building up a brand. So the first thing you need to ask yourself is what is this brand you're going to build up? So I mean, if you call it super awesome product reviews.com, are you going to be happy building that up as a name that people are going to try to remember? Is that what you want? And I carry my branding over to everything that I do. So if you see any of my Facebook posts, they got that bulldog logo on. If you see any of my videos, it's on there somewhere. If you got any of my emails, the very first two words in every single one of my emails are Brett Rutecky. It's the first two words in the subject, because I want to constantly have my name on people's lips as much as possible, so that they recognize me. So when you're picking your domain name, don't think about what domain name do I want. Think about what is the name of my brand.
And also, I like that you mentioned there, when you have an email and you're going to be sending it out, you want that name in your email to be able to fit in the beginning there. So when people get an email from you, that you want to be able to make it recognizable to them. Now, if your name is something that's really, really long, or like my name's Mike Thomas. People, like, there's so many Mike Thomases in the world, it doesn't really stand out. Brett Rutecky, Brett's lucky. The last name Rutecky isn't one that there's a lot of them out there, but there's a Michael Thomas in the IM world. So there's another Michael Thomas in this space, and it's a good thing that I have branding Mike from Maine, or I might have been in trouble there with people uh, going out there and not understanding where we are. We are. Some people say that
Mike, I'm,
my.
I'm Mike.
Are you hearing me, Brad? Someone says I'm having my mic. They're not hearing me.
Yeah, your audio is getting pretty bad, Mike.
Can you
Yeah,
hear me
your audio is
now?
getting pretty bad. It's fading out really bad for me.
1 second.
Yeah, now I can. Before it was getting pretty bad.
Can you guys hear me now? I'm moving. I'm moving over here. How's that, Brett?
Now it sounds better. Yeah, to me.
Okay, we better with everyone else now. Can you all hear me? Hello, hello. Brett, are you hearing me? Brett?
I think it might be your internet connection, Mike. It just did it again. It's like getting really like robot voice
One
sometimes and
second, one
fading
second.
out and
I'm gonna
stuff.
pause it just for a second, everyone. Okay, this might be better. Can you hear me now? Hello, hello. Can you hear me, Brett?
Yeah, that's a lot better now.
It should be better. I just moved closer to
Yep,
the
I got you.
modem. I was outside of the that area. 1 second. Okay, good. Okay, so what we'll move on to. Everyone hear me better now? Yes, better. Perfect, perfect. Okay, cool, cool, cool. Nice, nice, nice. Love it, love it, love it. Everyone's happy now. Okay, okay, everyone. Everyone's like, yes, yes, yes. Awesome. Okay, so now what we're going to go on to is we're going to start talking about that, picking that domain name. So what I like to go to, I don't know about you, Brett, but I register all myself. Where do you register yourself at?
I use a GoDaddy.
Me too. Okay, we're on the see. Look, and I want to point that out as well. Brett and I could have used different things there. It doesn't matter. We might have used different services, and it does the same thing. So you can go over to GoDaddy and type in a name over here. So I could maybe try to pick something like Mike's Marketing Website and search for a domain. And it says, look, that website is available. So you can actually go in there, and this is giving me the prices in Turkish lira because I'm over in Turkey. But you can actually go out there and find discount codes as well. So if you go to Google and you type in GoDaddy promo code or discount code, you can find them right here. And a lot of times you can find them, you have 93% off .com domain names, only 99 cents. So you can take that promo code, and if you click on there, take that code right in there, put that in at your checkout, and you can get it for 99 cents. I've done that a bunch of times before. So it's really, really cheap to get started with that. How much did you pay for yours, Brett?
I registered mine a while back. I think I paid $12 for mine. I don't think I used the coupon code, to be honest with you.
Ah,
Um, but yeah, I mean, you can find that's another thing. You can find like other hosts, other registrars and stuff that you maybe you're cheaper. Maybe they're $7 or $8 instead of $12. But you got to ask yourself, like, is searching around to find a $4 discount worth your time? That's why I just go to GoDaddy. And I mean, I have what 40 domains registered, and maybe I can get them a little bit cheaper, a dollar or two cheaper, but it's not worth my time, so I just pay it.
Colm is saying, I heard that GoDaddy can take your domain from you if you do not behave. Colm, I don't believe that they can legally take your domain name from you. If you're paying for it, I mean, if you go out there and you selling something illegal or something, then maybe they could take that from you. But I've never heard of someone actually getting their domain name taken. Have you, Brett?
Yeah, well, something you actually need to remember is that no matter who you register your domain with, GoDaddy, HostGator, Namecheap, whatever, you're not actually registering your name with them. Those people are resellers. They're like the middlemen. All domain names come from ICANN. That's why actually you'll even see when you check out, you'll see on your cart usually there'll be a 25-cent ICANN fee. That's what ICANN charges GoDaddy or all the registrars for that. So they can't really take your domain name from you. But what happens though is, let's just say BrettRutecky.com is a pretty popular site. It gets a few thousand hits a month or a week. I'm sorry, and I don't renew it. So GoDaddy, what they'll do is they'll send me out a notice and say, hey, Brett, you got 7 days to renew it. If I don't, they'll buy it real quick under their name. And then they'll say, hey, Brett, would you like to buy it from us?
Mm, yeah. I mean, and that's what once you get going, I would recommend registering your domain for just a year because you never know what's going to happen in a year's time. So just register for a year, and if things pick up and you end up staying with your domain name, then you can register for another year. Or if things are going really well, go ahead and register for 5 years or whatever. But I would say that that first time that you do it is enough. Stefan, you're asking about a domain name, and he's asked me not to say it out loud. Um, and this is stuff I'm pretty sure. Actually, if you have questions about your domain names, what I would do is I would take them and show them to your friends. Go ahead and if you have like bring it down to a list of 3 to 5. If you're having a hard time figuring it out, take it to your friends and ask them. Ask your friends, which one of these do you like? Which one of these do you think is the best? And they're going to tell you. They're going to see it from an outside perspective, and they're going to be able to help you picking that. Beverly says she's horrible at picking domain names. She has 53 park domains. Uh, it's yeah, I mean it's hard going out there and trying to find the right domain name. I get why it can seem hard, but really just pick one and move on. Really, you're gonna be happy that you just picked it, and that's gonna be your home online, and you're gonna have to live with it. Really, the fact that my domain name is mikefrommaine.com has absolutely nothing to do with my success. The fact that domain name is brettrutecky.com has nothing to do with his success. Steven says, wow, you just made the cost of my coaching here worth the cost. I didn't know this existed. Cool, man. I'm glad to help you already. And someone else just said that. James just said the tip almost pays for the cost of this webinar training. Cool. Oh, Wolfgang says for your business, it's a tax write-off. Yeah, you can write these kind of things off. I mean, I want to say we're not accountants, and we don't want to give you any tax advice. We have to be upfront about that. But talk to your accountant, and a lot of these things, at least for my business and for Brett's, they are tax write-offs. Let's see. Small. Okay. I want to make sure I get these questions before we move on to something else. Let's see. Okay, cool. So once you've gone out and you've chosen your domain name, and for those of you, I've had a person ask me about some other stuff. We're going to be covering everything, but you have to also remember that there are different people at different levels. So some people, this is new stuff to them. Some people, they are advanced. So we need to be addressing that for everyone, just so you all know. But we will be going over some advanced stuff in the next in the next 3 sessions that we do. So the next thing that always comes up here is going through hosting. So picking the right hosting. Brett, what you said you use HostGator for your hosting.
Yeah, I have several different hostings with HostGator actually.
How much do you pay for your hosting?
Well, it depends on the plan. For example, now my blog is on a shared hosting, and I believe I have a baby plan for that. So what is that? You're on HostGator there. What's the price of that? Like $6 or $7 a month?
Yeah, this one right here, it says starting at $486 a month for hosting. So once you get your domain name, you're going to need to have hosting for it. It's kind of like when the domain name is the house and the hosting is the land that the house sits on. So you pay once a year for the domain name, and you pay once a month for the hosting. Now you can pay $486. I use for Mike from Maine. I use a service called Traffic Planet Hosting. Now, it's more expensive, but it's a really good service, and it's specifically for WordPress websites. However, it's $25 a month, so it's definitely a more expensive service. I would recommend, if you are on a budget and you're trying to save money on hosting, then you can definitely go and you can use HostGator. It's cheap. It will do the job for you. And in the future, if you decide to move over to another hosting company, or you decide to move to a dedicated server, which I know, Brett, you said you have more intense, more expensive servers now as well, right?
Yeah, well, because I host software, and that's a big part of my business is hosting software. I have several of them actually, dedicated servers. I mean, I have ones that I pay a couple $100 a month for, but I mean, those things, they have, thousands of users. So they're not something that anybody has to worry about right now.
And Vera's saying HostGator also has great support. So they are used to, if you're in the beginning stages of setting up your business and you have a ton of questions about getting set up, HostGator is used to that. They're used to all your questions. They're going to be able to help you out with everything in getting set up with all of that. Larry's asking, if I buy a domain from GoDaddy, why wouldn't I use GoDaddy for hosting? Good question, Larry. GoDaddy also provides, they have a hosting that you can buy from them, but I've never heard anything good about GoDaddy hosting. Brett, have you ever heard anything about their hosting service?
I've uh, I've been on GoDaddy yelling at their tech support already. So yeah, yeah, they're not that good. Their hosting is not that good. I'll be honest. When it comes to GoDaddy's hosting, especially their shared hosting, they're way behind. They're really slow to do like PHP updates. They're really slow to do MySQL updates. So if you want a new plugin and it requires, say, the latest version of PHP, and then you install it on your site, and all of a sudden your site has a whole bunch of errors because GoDaddy has a PHP version from 3 years ago still on their host. It's not worth the trouble, and it's the same price. So, and there's no trouble to go to another hosting company. So I don't even mess with GoDaddy's hosting.
Mark says GoDaddy is the worst hosting on the face of the earth. I've been hosting design clients for 15 years, and GoDaddy is the pits, he says. Steven says, I've had nothing but trouble with GoDaddy hosting. They have never answered any questions I had to the extent that I needed. Beverly says, try GoDaddy and switch to HostGator. Their tech support is awesome. Just call and they will walk you on the phone step by step. Cool. So apparently the knowledge that we had there about GoDaddy is right. If you're going to choose a hosting, I would recommend HostGator or Traffic Planet from because that's what I use. Paul is saying, what is your opinion on Amazon AWS? Do you know what that is, Brett? Amazon AWS?
Amazon has like their own service. It's more along the lines of people who are more technical, like people who are writing software as a service. I mean, you're not going to get the kind of support that you're going to expect. A good example of that is like when I use GoDaddy or when I use HostGator, I should say, for my dedicated boxes. When I order a dedicated server from HostGator, they basically build a machine, plug it into a rack somewhere in a data center, give me a way to securely log into it so that my keyboard types on that machine and say, there you go, Brett, you're a tech guy, do what you want. That's kind of like what Amazon does. It's a little bit more support than that, but in essence, you're on your own. It's for people that are more technically inclined.
Yeah, people are saying here. Paul says S3 is terrific for parking large files that need to be downloaded. It's cheap. Yeah, so I also use it for hosting files, but not for hosting a website. Cool. Okay, so let's move on now to the next part of this, and that is going out and getting a logo created. Now, once you've gone out there and you've gone out and you've created you've gotten your domain name, you've gotten your hosting, and actually before we get to that, I wanted to mention you are going to need to create a WordPress website. To do that, it's one of the easiest things in the world. If you just go to Google and say how to create a WordPress website, there are so many tutorials on how to do that. So many great tutorials. It's one of the easiest things ever. I wish we could walk you through the whole process of doing it, but we just don't simply have time for that. But if you just go out there and you find one of these, how to make a WordPress website, it would just give you a step-by-step how to set that up. It's really easy to do, and this is something that I highly recommend that you do before our next session, as it's going to make everything else that we do over the next few weeks make more sense to you in that process.
If they end up going with HostGator as well, HostGator has a program built into it called Fantastico, where you basically just press a button and it installs WordPress for you.
So easy. And if you chat with their support, they will help you do all of that. They will tell you exactly what you need to do. Their goal is that they want you to have your website with them, and it's in their best interest to have you get set up with WordPress with them, because that means that you're going to be staying with them month after month. So use their support system. That's what it's there for. That's why they have it available. Steven's saying, I've had better luck with blogspot.com. WordPress just seems too difficult to get up and running like I want. Blogspot.com, I can have it up and running within 10 minutes. Steven, blogspot.com is free, and you're right, it is easy to set up. However, you don't own your Blogspot. Google can go out there. It belongs to Google. It's in Google's name. You don't have the flexibility to be able to do what you want with that property. It's kind of like real estate here. You want to create something that you're going to own. You don't want to build a house in someone else's backyard. It's just not good business. So I would recommend uh, getting that WordPress website. In my business, I don't know about you, Brett, but the two most valuable assets, and one of them we're going to talk about in the coming weeks about building an email list. That's the most important asset in my business. My second most important asset that I own is my website. It's just it's where everything goes on. It's where I store all of my work. It's where I store all of the reviews that I do. It's where you can find information about me that we can reference down the road. It's just a place that I don't know where I would tell people to go if I didn't have my website for that. Would you agree, Brett?
Yeah, absolutely. And also, I mean, if I lost my website and I lost my email list, I'd be out of business. Like if they just vanished overnight tonight, like literally I would be out of business the next morning. And also the two things complement each other. For example, I use my email list to send traffic to my website, and I use my website to build my email list. It's almost like two halves of the same coin. You really you need both of them.
Exactly, exactly. And one thing I wanted to point out here is about getting your logo done. You are going to want to have some sort of a logo on your website. Now, we mentioned before that you can go out there and you can get something like this created so easily if you just go over to Fiverr.com and you just search for logo. There's tons of people here if it wants to load. My internet's being funny. Here we go. There's so many people here. I will design a logo. Let's look for ones with high ratings. I will design two magnificent logos. This person has 17,000 designed. Here's another one. I like the look of this kind of better here. So you can go in here and have someone create your logo for you for $5. You're going to look professional just like that. You're going to have that professional look for your website. So easy. Don't spend tons of time trying to go out there and do this yourself. This is the kind of stuff that you can go and you can actually pay other people to do, not let this kind of stuff get in the way. Beverly says that Wix was just de-indexed by Google last week, and I think Wix is a website creation platform. So that's, again, if you build your something in someone else's backyard, then you're going to be in danger. Beverly's asking, what's the difference between a logo and a favicon? A logo would be something that you would have like up here. A favicon is something that appears, I believe it's up here. Do you have one, Brett? For your website? I don't have one.
No, but your browser doesn't actually even show favicons on them. Usually they'll show in the tab as well, like right
Huh.
next to Rutecky on the left, there would be an icon. Then if you bookmark that, if you show your bookmarks, I don't know if it does it in Safari, but like in Chrome or Firefox, it will show it next to your bookmarks as well. It's
No, I
little
don't have it.
six.
I have you as a B here for Brett.
Yeah, it's favicons aren't that important. They're really not. I don't even have one.
Again, if you remember what we talked about earlier, Beverly, that's probably an example there of something that is kind of cool, like having a little favicon, but it's not the difference between like having a successful business and not. It's just kind of a little extra, an extra thing there. Um, Steven says, I love Fiverr. I've used them for years. Steven says, Wix is similar to Weebly, easy to use if but you're taking a chance of losing your site. Exactly. Just like what we told you guys here, WordPress is where you want to be. It's where you're going to own your asset, own your business. You want to be in control of everything. You're very welcome, Beverly, and thank you for asking those questions. Vera says WordPress rules. Yes. Lee wants to know, Brett. He says it would be interesting to know why Brett chose a bulldog for his logo. It works well for branding. Just curious. Why'd you choose a
There's
bulldog?
actually there's a little story behind that. I did it for the longest time. I didn't have the Bulldog logo. It was just Brett Rutecky, and it said, honest reviews. And if anybody who reads my blog is unique. My review blog is unique in that, and sometimes I tell people not to buy the product I'm reviewing. I say that it's a bad product and they shouldn't buy it. I'm very honest in my reviews, even if it means saying that it's a bad product. Well, right after I got started, about 3 or 4 months after I got started, I did a product review of a well-known vendor, and he sent me a message and said, "Who the hell do you think you are, Brett? The watchdog of the internet." So I decided to play in on that, and I'm thinking watchdog. What pops into my head when I think of watchdog? I think of like a junkyard bulldog. So that's what I got my logo made as.
People are laughing. They love it. Yeah, and that makes sense. It makes sense with your business. It makes sense there. But I also want to point out again here that if you all notice, Brett didn't have a logo for a long time. It wasn't something like even without a logo, Brett was still able to make money online. So these are things. These are all things that are helpful, but they're just little details there that go along with all this. But I'd recommend in the beginning if you can just get a little logo, it's going to help you out. Just kind of to look a little bit more serious. James, if you've got questions about agency rights, I probably would recommend to ask that in the support desk. I think that'd be the better place for that. Tim's asking, how about cloud membership sites? Fresh Member, Fedora, Member Hub, they don't use WordPress. Tim, that's for if you're doing a membership site and you want to put it outside of your WordPress website, that's fine. But for your kind of your home on the internet and for doing the stuff that we're going to be teaching you over the next few weeks, I would recommend having at least one WordPress blog for your business. Just having that one site for your business. Yes, Jim, we will do a recap of everything that we've said so far today. Helen's asking, are we doing all this based on having an affiliate review site? Yes, we are doing this, basing this on the fact that we are assuming that you want to make money online. We're assuming that you want to do stuff that we are doing. So we're going to teach you how to do that, how to make money as an affiliate in the coming weeks. So this is all getting you set up for that. However, everyone always wants to get to the juicy stuff. Everyone wants to get to the money parts. To get to the money parts, you need to have. Wolfgang says money is good. Yes, money is good, but you need to have your foundation set before you get to that point. Or when we tell you that you now need to take your review and put it on a blog, you're going to be like, "Oh crap, I didn't set up a blog. Now I'm behind," and you're going to go back to watching the next episode of The Walking Dead, which I get distracted with as well. But the point is you need to get your foundation set up before you move on to anything else. Steven says, I'm not greedy. Just show me how to make $1,000 a month and I'd be a happy camper. Anything over that would be icing on the cake. Steven, it's funny that you say $1,000 a month because my goal when I first got started online was to make $3,000 per month. Brett, did you have a goal? Did you have like a number when you got started? Like, if I could just make this amount of money doing this stuff here, then I'd have hit my goals.
Yeah, I was hoping at the time when I first got started, I was still a freelance software developer working on like ELANs and stuff, and I was making about $60,000 a year as a freelance software developer, which is about average for my local area for developers. So that was my goal. I wanted to make 60,000 a year. That's 5,000 a month, and I figured, if I can build myself up to where I'm making that much, I'd be pretty happy.
Yeah, and now and you've definitely you've done that, but you started out uh, making
I now
like
I've
what's that? Brett?
Now, yeah, fast forward, a couple of years and just sticking with it, and I've gotten bonuses from vendors that were twice that. So,
Yeah, yeah, and you've gone to that point over time with hard work. You've gone to the point where you're able to make a living. I think you make more money now from online stuff than you do from your offline businesses.
yeah, we were talking about that before the webinar. We were talking about taxes and stuff. And yeah, I mean, a lot of people, they focus on your, IM, but some of us have offline businesses as well. I have a couple of offline businesses. I have rental properties. I have a partnership in a number of different pawn shops. I used to own two ice cream parlors. I sold them over the summer. But yeah, I'm actually got to the point now where I make more money online than I do offline.
Kim's asking, are you only going to teach about the IM niche in here? And the answer is that is yes. We will be specifically talking about the IM niche. However, the stuff in the IM niche, you can definitely take the stuff that you learn and apply it to other niches. If you go outside of the IM niche and you start, you help a local business with their autoresponder, or you set up websites for people, there's so much work out there for people that have these kinds of skills that it's great to get started in the IM niche because it can open up a whole new world for you. Um, Steven says, I'd be willing to
I
get.
personally think that the IM niche is.
What's that, Brett?
Sorry, I think I'm on a delay. I was talking before and I came in. I personally think for that woman, I think the IM niche is like the best niche to be in as well. I mean, everybody wants to make money. I mean, you can be in the health and fitness niche, and I will never buy anything from you because I don't care. But everybody wants to make money.
Yeah, yeah. The market's huge. Like if you try to go into a market where there aren't any buyers, it's going to be really hard to be successful. Well, there's health, wealth, and relationships. Those are the three biggest niches, the ones that people spend the most amount of money in. So why not just go where the money is and work in that niche? It's going to be a lot easier for you. Steven says I'd be willing to give up body parts for $60,000 a year. Stefan's asking, what is the average time frame to see the first few dollars running in if following this to the T? Just a safe guess on your site from your experience. Stefan, that's always a hard question to answer. But if you go out there, I've seen people apply the methods that I do and that I teach. I've seen them go out there and make money within the first week. So that's possible. I've also seen people go out there and not take any action on anything, not kind of sit back and learn it all, and then wait for I don't know what, and never take any action and not make any money at all. So it's going to be up to you when you make that first money. But I'm telling you, if you apply the stuff that we teach, it is proven stuff. Brett and I are not rocket scientists. We are just normal guys making money online from affiliate marketing. Let's see here. Steven says, if the IM niche is where the money is, that's where you'll find me for sure. Dun, dun, dun. Good question, Chuck. If I have different informational products for different niches, should I offer them all through this branding site that you're showing us how to build? Chuck, I would develop different websites for different niches. So if you're building a website in the internet marketing niche, I would make that website pretty much for everything that you're doing in the internet marketing niche. I wouldn't go outside of that. Like if you have something else that's in like the golf niche, you're going to confuse people that come to your website looking for golf stuff, and then you're talking about the next new software for making money online. Like I would say separate out those those niche blogs.
If I could just add on to that, Mike, I would
Yeah.
actually suggest as well to Chuck, um, don't have multiple niches. Pick one niche. When you have multiple niches, multiple websites, multiple traffic sources, multiple lists, what you're doing is building multiple businesses. You don't want to build five businesses at once. I wouldn't start five restaurants at once. Pick one niche, build it up until it gets you some income, and then use that time freedom that that income brings you to then build up another niche and start another business.
Steven's asking, is that how you use WordPress subdomains under the original? Steven, I don't recommend ever using a subdomain. I think it looks really weird when people use them, and I would say stay away from subdomains. If you're going to create a domain, just create another website, create another blog, and it's gonna be better for everything, just to keep everything separated. Um, So Beverly's asking, okay, so personal life coach clients should be one website, then teaching other coaches how to build their coaching practice should be on two homes. Yeah, I mean, if you've got different niches, if then you want to separate those. I'd say separate those out. Um, Vera says, thanks, Brett, for the tip. Stephen says, one domain per per job. Yes, cool. Okay, let's go on to the next one here. So you can get your logo. You can go out there and you can get your logo on Fiverr. And writing an about me page. Now this is something that Brett and I actually differ on here. Brett doesn't have an about me page on his website. Brett, I think you should. I think you should put an about me page on there. But it goes to show you that it's not 100% necessary. I have on MikeFromMaine.com. I have this right here. Who am I? And if you go here, you see I've got 65 comments on it. People have liked it and commented on it, and I'm able to tell my story a little bit here about how I'm actually from Maine, but I live in Istanbul. I tell a little bit about my married my Turkish wife and how I built my business, and I've got some pictures of me here. It makes it so that I become less of a stranger and more of a person. So it's a way of building trust with your audience and building a relationship with them. So I would recommend going out there and also writing an about me page. It just helps you to also kind of figure out what you're doing yourself, like kind of figure out what your business is going to be. Like these kind of things are good to have out there, and you can this will change over time. I wrote this back in 2013. I need to update it. I'll be the first to admit it. Like my business has changed since then, but it's good to have that, and that's a cool thing about having a blog too, is that you can keep kind of track of what you're doing and be able to know, like, okay, I've come this far, like I've created this piece of content, and now it's getting search engine traffic, and I'm getting free traffic from the search engines. um, and Helen's saying, I like your about me page, Mike. However, a lot of us are more private people, so I'm with Brett. I get that. Hey, Brett, do you do it because of privacy, or do you do it just because you haven't done it?
Honestly, I do it just because I haven't done it. But what you're saying does make a lot of sense. If people, you have to touch with people on a more personal level, on a little bit of a personal level. What are the three things, Mike? Know, like, and trust.
Yes.
And saying a little bit about you. I mean, you don't have to like show pictures of your kids and stuff if you don't want to. I mean, but just talking a little about you, about how you got into this business, is certainly gonna make people feel like they know you a little bit more, and maybe they'll like you. I mean, maybe they'll read your about me and be like, I don't like anything about you, but hopefully that's not going to happen.
Well,
But
that happens as well, though, Brett. I want to interrupt you there because that's fine too. Not everyone is going to like you, and that's okay. Some people are going to know, like, and trust different people more than others. It's okay.
well, yeah, I've gotten people that would read one of my reviews and be like, I don't like how blunt and outspoken you are, Brett. And I say, that's great. I mean, that's how I am. If you don't like my style, then no problem. Um, but yeah, I just didn't write my about me page just because I just never did it.
Yeah, and it's funny. It's kind of like there's stuff that people say you have to do. Maybe you've heard of things like retargeting. A lot of people, I don't do retargeting, and Brett does. So in things that you think that people are doing, and maybe but I know I should be doing it. But there's things out there that not all of us are able to do everything. But if you get most of it right, you don't need to get all of it right. But if you get most of it right, you're going to be ahead of everyone else. Stephen says, I like your about me. Proves that if you get knocked down, do your best to land on your back. Because if you can look up, you can get up and start again. Yes. Um, Lee says, learning about Mike has helped me appreciate him and develop confidence in him. Interesting. Yes, that's true. Chuck says, should we use a video in addition to pics on our About Me page? Video would be amazing. That's one thing, Chuck, that I need to do. I want to put a video on this page. I think that would make it really nice. And it would be a really easy thing to do. For me, getting on video and just talking is easier than writing something. So it's up to you how you want to do that. Let's see here. Ulf, yes, you are late, but don't worry, we'll have the replay available. Video makes it more personal, yes. Roy says, what if English is not my first language? Does still stand a chance in internet marketing? Roy, one of my best students in my coaching program is from Iran, and English is his second language. So don't let that be something. If you can understand what we're saying here today, and you can write in English, then you're set. You can do this as well. Okay, let's go on to the next one here. And this is a big one here, everyone. Transparency in your marketing, not faking it till you make it. Before this call, Brett and I were actually talking about this, and it's interesting that people think for some reason that you have to go out there and you have to put out like some course about how you're making $1,000 a day, even when you're not making 1,000, or put out big screenshots of PayPal when you're not really making the money there. Like, I don't know where this comes from, but there seems to be something, especially in the internet marketing niche, that brings out the need to lie. What do you think, Brett?
I see that a lot. I do product reviews, and people will ask me to review a product of theirs. It'll be somebody I never heard of, somebody that's new, just getting into it, and it'll be like how to build a list of 10,000 in 30 days. And I say, okay, cool, man. How about we get on Skype and you log into your Aweber account and you show me your list? And they say, well, I don't have a list yet. I'm like, how are you going to teach people how to build a list? You can't do that. You can't. Don't lie to people. That's not a way to build a relationship with them. Be honest with people. Be straight up, straightforward with people. Um, yeah, absolutely. Transparency. Don't fake it. Don't lie. People tend to think that I mean, there's a lot of income claims in the IM space. And so, like, you'll show screenshots and you'll show PayPal accounts, and people just tend to assume that because some people are fake, that everybody is fake. But I can tell you firsthand that the people that are really making good money online aren't lying about that stuff. That's true. They're real screenshots. They're real, the real account information that they're giving. It's not the people that are making stuff up, that are lying, that are pretending. They're wondering why they're not getting anywhere. It's because they're starting off at the wrong foot.
And I'm not saying that you have to do this, but one thing that I do is I put out income updates. So now, I mean, it's the numbers are like I make $30,000 in a month now. But if you look back to 2011 when I first got started, I made $355 in that month. And actually, I'd started before. There were a few months that I'd done this, but my blog got hacked. And that when I was talking to you about getting hacked and not getting your website back, that's what happened to me. Um, so I started up again here, and even in the beginning, look, I had losses in these 3 months in a row. I lost money. Like, I didn't make any money, and I put that out there to be fully transparent. But again, I'm not saying you have to put out an income report. You don't need to be that transparent if you don't want to. However, I would tell you to talk about on your blog. You can create posts and you can talk about what you're working on. You can talk about what's working for you and what's not working for you. That kind of stuff is stuff that people love. People actually like it when you talk about failure sometimes, because what that means is they can relate to you a little bit more and understand that, oh, okay, this isn't some guy that's saying that he's always getting it right, that he's always um, successful. He's a real person, or she's a real person, and it's going to develop again that trust with people. Steven says, you lied to me once and you'll never see me again. That's true with a lot of people, Steven. If you lose their trust, it's gone. Um, Steven says your income updates had a great deal to do with why I began following you so closely. And yes, Steven, the income updates they've helped to create that trust and to show to show that like especially when if I started posting if my first income update was today and I put like $30,000 here, it's like okay like sure. I mean, I think there would be a lot more uh, doubt about it. But when you see it start from way back in the beginning, if you start it now, if you start being transparent now about what you're doing, and once you become successful, it's going to be even more of a story. And your story is what makes you different from other people out there. Your story is what's important when it comes to marketing later on. Uh, Stefan, yeah, you can put Fiverr stuff in an income report, sure. Helen says, from May to July 2012, your income skyrocketed. How come? Let me see. From May to July 2012. This right here, this was before I was doing affiliate marketing, Helen. So I started doing affiliate marketing back in this part right here. This is when I was doing AdSense sites. Thank you, Beverly. She says, just read your new income report. Congrats. Thank you. Steven says, I don't care how much money you make. I want to know how you make the money you do. Exactly. That's what you want to learn. You want to learn how it's actually coming in. Lee says, seeing Mike's income reports is one of the most valuable information I have had to access, improves my mindset. Cool, man. Helen says, how do you choose which products to review? Does it depend on the product creator or the product itself? We will be covering that either next week. I think it's next week that we're going to be covering that, Helen. So stay tuned for the next training. Um, Steven says, if I brought in over 300, even $300 a month, my wife would fall off her chair. She's just not buying the I am thing right now. She doesn't believe in email lists. That from someone who actually owned a very successful ISP company. Well, she doesn't have to believe in it, Steven, but if I believe in email lists. Um, I believe in email lists because it's what makes me money. It's my asset online. I have 26,000 subscribers on my list. So that for me is very important for what I do. Brett, I think you were going to say something.
Yeah, if you stick through it, and you notice even in Mike's income reports, there were months where he lost money. There were months where he made almost nothing. But honestly, once you get to a certain point, it's almost like if you just stick through it, keep working, keep building your list, keep building your blog up, it's almost like you get to the point where like the cloud just clears, like the fog just clears in front of you, and you're going to realize that $300 a month, you're going to say, oh my God, that's horrible. You know what I mean? So, don't let the thing that's going to keep people down is lack of doing. And things like saying, oh, I don't think I can do this. I don't think I can make 300 a month. I don't think I can make 3,000 a month. That mindset is what's going to keep you down. You need to always be focusing on knowing for a fact, 100% sure. We are two guys that are telling you that this works, that we're teaching you works. We're not making it up. We do it. We know it works. Um, the computer that I'm talking to you on, the desk that it's sitting in, and the house that everything I own is inside of was all bought with I am money. So just stick through it. Don't. I'm not a good motivational speaker.
No, you are. But you're right. Like, everything, I mean, everything that I have, everything I own is also bought with I am money. I don't have a job. I haven't had a desk job since 2006, 2007. Like having like working, I worked at Georgetown University, and I haven't worked like a traditional job since then. So everything that I have is due to internet marketing.
Mike, I think you and I were talking the other day about a product. I won't mention the product, but it was about a product that you promoted, and I said, "How's it going for you, Mike?" And you said, like 500 in commissions." And that was what for a couple of hours into the promo, and that's the point where you get to where you start realizing that making 300, 500, 1,000 is not only not hard, it's like almost impossible not to do that. You could do everything wrong and make that much once you get to a certain point. You just have to get to that point. You have to have the will and determination to get to that certain point. When I first started my blog, and I started doing reviews and product reviews, and I test the heck out of the products I review. I spent hours and hours. I still had a job. I was still a freelance programmer. I was still working 12 hours a day freelance coding. And when after work, when my friends would go out, or when my girlfriend wanted to go on a date, I stuck with what I knew was going to work. You have to have that willpower to sacrifice. I'm not going to watch The Walking Dead. I'm not going to take my girlfriend to the movies because I'm working for something better. And then once you get to that point, now I don't even have to work if I don't want to. But you just have to, you pay your dues forward first. What is it? Pay it forward? Is that what they call it?
I have a buddy of mine who I remember a few years back. I'd be at home working on my business, and he'd be like, "Mike, let's go out to the bars, let's go out and have and party and stuff." And of course I wanted to, but at the same time I was like, no, I can't. I need to work on my business. And I would stay home. I would learn more stuff. I would go through courses. I would go to trainings like this, and I would just absorb everything I could, take action on everything I could, make tons of mistakes on stuff. But for me, I didn't want my biggest fear. I got down to the time where I had in my bank account I had $8,000 left in my bank account, and I didn't have another job. And I if once that $8,000 was gone, I would have to go out and teach English, and I didn't want to at all. I'd have to go out there and leave the IM stuff and get a real job. No, I didn't want to do that. It's like the worst scenario ever. So for me, it was like I had to do this. I had to figure out how this works. Now, if you want to make this work, if you're here, you've been on this call for a little over an hour now, and you're here, and what we're talking about is resonating with you, then you can do it. But you need to. It needs to be everything that you want. Like it needs to be the most important thing to you right now. You need to just concentrate on it, absorb everything that we're going to teach you over the next. We got 3 more weeks left of this, and we're going to help you to bring you there, but you need to take action on it. So I'll tell you the people right now that are going to have success from this 4 week course. The people that are going to have success are the ones that today, right after we get done, go out, they register a domain name, they set up a WordPress site, they start working on it, they start putting it up, they start just kind of getting it all ready. And next week they are waiting and it's like, okay, guys, I did what you just told me to do. What's next? And it's those people that are going to be the ones that are going to be the success stories here, not the ones that go and they watch this and okay, but that sounds hard. That might be something that requires work. Like, and that's that's it. Stefan's asking any homework. I want to get this done. Yes, your homework, Stefan, is to go out there and set up a website, set up a WordPress blog, get your domain name, like what we showed you before here. You want to go out there. You want to pick your domain name. You want to pick your hosting. You want to get a logo created on Fiverr. You want to start writing your About Me page, and you want to start blogging on your site. Start writing some stuff on there. Get used to blogging, and that's what's going to make you have success. Oliver says, "Let's get it done. Motivated like hell." Love it, Oliver. I love to have you motivated here. Um, Yes, Steven. Steven says Profit Canvas is great. You can make a page stored on Profit Canvas, but I have no list to share it with. Now what? I'm confused. Steven, we are going to show you how to build an email list, and we're going to show you how to use Profit Canvas as well to do that. You've got an awesome tool now. Steven says I'm retired, so time is not an issue. 10 hours a day working on this is okay with me. I now know I can do this. Yes, yes, you can. You can. Yes, Beverly, I know you can do it. Uh, you guys are great. Thank you, Lorraine. This is a great training. Can't wait to grow with you and start making money. Awesome, awesome. So, what we showed you today, this is just the beginning. In the next week, we're going to start getting into some little more advanced topics, but you need to be ready. You need to have your website done by then if you want to not get behind on this. So make sure you set up your blog. And when I say website, blog, they're used interchangeably. It's the same thing. Blog, website, same thing. Okay, so last thing, we're about to wrap this up now for this week. Any questions that we can answer for you here? Chuck says, other than the About Me page, what subject should I blog about on the site this week? Chuck, blog about how you're taking this four week course. Blog about how you found Mike from Maine and Brett Rutecky. You bought a course, you bought a piece of software called Profit Canvas, and you're excited to get started. And talk about what troubles you're having and what's working for you. Steven says, I already have a website. Can I use it on WordPress without having to buy another domain name? If you already have a blog like what we've talked about, then you're fine. But if you have a blog that's in some other random niche, then you should have something specific for internet marketing. You're very welcome, Vera. Beverly says, awesome, great stuff. To have this type of training normally costs thousands of dollars. Thanks for taking the time to teach us, folks. You're very welcome, Beverly. You're right. This does usually cost thousands of dollars. But because we had so many people sign up through the launch, we were able to offer it at a cheaper price. James says, I'm an author and like to help authors. What suggestions to use Profit Canvas for that niche? James, you could always help authors build email lists by using Profit Canvas. You could have them do a video about their book and put a video on a squeeze page and have maybe give away the first few pages, the first chapter of a book in exchange for an email address, and then market to them the author's uh, other books that they have. Get them on an email list for the author. Every time the author has a new book come out, you can market it. Vera says, looking forward to the other one. Larry says, I do not want to write a blog. I want a site to use for CPA. Will this work? Larry, I don't do CPA. Brett doesn't do CPA. I guess you could use a blog for CPA, but we don't do it. We don't do CPA marketing.
Here's the thing about CPA, Larry. It pays less. If you're going to do the thing in internet marketing, doesn't it make sense to do the thing that pays the most?
CPA pays
You
crap.
know,
It's
I
like
mean, what are you going to get? You're going to get $3 per action. I mean, and you're going to send hundreds of, 100 clicks, and to a CPA offer, you're going to get one or two actions, maybe. You get $3 or $6. I mean, in affiliate marketing, you get $8, $9 per click. It just makes sense to do. I mean, you got to remember, we're doing this, like Mike had said in the beginning. I mean, we want to help people and all, but I mean, we're starting a business, and if you're going to start a business, it just makes sense to do the thing that makes the most sense. If we were in the metal trading business, it would make more sense to trade in gold than it does to trade in iron, because it's just more valuable.
Sam says, thanks guys, great first webinar. Looking forward to the next one. Helen is asking about the reseller license. Helen, the stuff that we teach you in here, you're going to be able to use in your marketing for reselling. If you purchase that reseller license, tactics that you're going to be able to use. Steven says, I'll be traveling for the next week and guarantee that I will be stopping to find a Wi-Fi spot so I don't miss it. Far too important. Awesome. That's what I like to see. I like to see that dedication. Let's see here. Any measurement I should set up to track my progress? Your progress is tracking how much money you make, right? That's how we track it. That's how we track the progress. Um, Steven says, I'm also an author of 19 books on Amazon. Putting a review video on the author page is great, so I think I'll use those videos too on my WordPress blog. Yes, use your content all over the place. Um, yes, Wolfgang says, CPA, lots of work and little money. Vera says, I love affiliate marketing. Lots of comments here, guys. I'm trying to get to them all. Any tips for e-com? Shabir says. No, Shabir. We're not going to be teaching e-com in this. You're welcome, Helen. Jim, yes. Actually, no. We don't offer any one-on-one coaching. This is the coaching. Cool. Well, everyone, I'm going to wrap this up. We are over on our time here, and I know you guys have to get along with the rest of your day. So do I and Brett. Um, Anything else, Brett, that you wanted to mention before we wrap up here? Their homework for next week is to go ahead and set up their blog. Anything else that you wanted to say before we uh, say goodbye?
Yeah, yeah. The last thing I just want to say, I just want to recap what you had said. You and I have two slightly different personalities. You're more softly nudging them. I'm more like pushing them. So to wrap up for me, there are 82 people on this call right now. So next week there should be 82 people telling us about the new domain name and blog that they set up. So the people that do that are going to be the people that are going to start making money. Everybody is saying, like one guy had said, I don't care how much you make, just show me how to do it. We are showing you how to do it, but you have to do it. And the first step is to set up your own blog, get your domain name, get your hosting, come back next week, and we will start showing you how to use that then to make money.
Do it. And really, like if you take that step, it's going to be it's not for us, it's for you. So we want you to have success. We want you to start making some money online and actually start figuring this all out. It's not rocket science, like we said. If we can do it, so can you. Thank you everyone for showing up today, and we will see you all next week.